Hello again, Tech Fam. Today we're going to take a look at Amazon S3. We're going to jump into our free AWS Lab account and we're going to go through creating and configuring S3 buckets. Here we are logged into our free AWS account. If you are not familiar with the free AWS account and the sign-in process, go find the free AWS Lab video on this channel. It'll walk you through the process of setting up an account and signing into your free AWS Lab. So let's go ahead and get started here in the console. What we want to do is go up here in the search bar where it says search for services. We are going to type in S3. It'll bring us to the S3 service. We'll click on S3. And it will open us up in Amazon S3. As you can see here, we don't have any buckets. See, right now we are in the buckets section. And right here, it says buckets and 0. We don't have any buckets, but we're gonna create us some buckets. Before we do that, let's just go through the menu options on the left side of the screen. And so we have object lambda access points, multi-region access points, batch operations, access analyzer for S3, and so on, right? And this is just like every other service with S3. When you log into the main service dashboard, whether it be S3, CloudFront, EBS, ECS, whatever, you'll be brought into a dashboard, and on the left side, every option for that service will be listed. So everything you can do with an S3 bucket is in one of these menus here, everything. And every AWS service is this way. But now we're here to create a bucket, so let's go ahead and do that. If we go up here to create a bucket in the orange and click it, we will be brought to the create a bucket screen. And here's what we're gonna do here. The first thing it asks for is a bucket name. This bucket name has to be globally unique, and that means throughout the whole world, this is to be the only bucket with this name. It cannot, no two buckets can have the same name. So you got to think of something unique. And if it is not unique, AWS will definitely let you know that that name is already taken. Pick something else. S3 Lab Bucket. Also, S3 only allows you to use certain characters. If you put any other thing other than that character they will not allow you to use the name. And they don't like spaces. So AWS region is the next option. You always want to choose the region closest to your physical location that is going to give you the least amount of latency when accessing objects in your bucket. Down here, object ownership. Right now, ACLs are disabled. We can enable ACLs, and this will allow us to give public access to objects in our bucket. Right now, we don't have to do that, so we're just going to keep on moving. Right here, block public access. It is recommended that you do not give public access to your bucket. There are a couple of use cases in which you would do so. If you are hosting a static website, you're going to want to make the bucket access public so that people can access, your content in your bucket. And for instance, you might have an S3 bucket that you store all of your IT career accomplishments and projects that you want to share out to people whenever the need arises. You can host all of that on S3 and just give people a URL to go check it out. But you would have to make the bucket public. You would have to know that that bucket is public. So whatever you put in there is accessible by anyone on the internet, right? So as long as you know that and understand that, by all means, do your thing. But there are other ways to allow access to individual objects without allowing access to your bucket. That is a subject for a different video. All right, keep going down. We got bucket versioning. As I mentioned before, S3 gives you the option to enable versioning so that you can have multiple versions of a particular object just in case you need to go back to a previous version or something gets accidentally deleted. This might be helpful to you. We're just going to leave it disabled right now. Tags are another way that you can refer to your bucket. For instance, for reporting, you can search for the tag or search for all of the buckets with a particular tag and your report will show you that. And so it's a key name value. So we'll say name, and the value will be lab S3 bucket. This is where you can put your spaces in. We'll leave that tag. You can add another tag. It could probably be like department. And that's gonna be, how about that? Whoops, I said at home. At home. All right, keep on going down. Default encryption is disabled by default. If you want it enabled, you would click enable. This is gonna be server-side encryption. They'll give you a couple of choices. We're not gonna enable that, right? Click open advanced settings. We're just gonna take a look here. Object lock is so you can lock a particular object. And let's just say you wanted to, you didn't trust people who had access to your bucket, and you just wanted to make sure by any means necessary, this particular object could not be deleted. So you don't even want to have to worry about it. You can enable object lock, lock that particular object, and no one can delete it or do anything to it by changing it. Once we get down to the bottom, we'll go ahead and say create the bucket, boom. And successfully created the bucket. It gave us our bucket name, and we can view the details now, but what we're gonna do is go ahead and close that. We're gonna go back out to the buckets right here. And as you can see right now, we have a bucket. The S3 lab bucket. It is in US East North Virginia. Bucket objects are not public. And it tells us when the bucket was created and the exact time. If we click the little button next to the bucket, a couple of other options will open up for us. We can copy the Amazon resource name, and that's what ARN stands for. The ARN is a uniquely identifiable name that you can attach to a bucket, so you can refer to this bucket by that name when you want to call upon it with other services or so on. You can also empty the bucket, delete the bucket, or create a new bucket right there. If we come down here on the name of the bucket and click it, it will bring us inside the bucket, right? And as you can see right now, it says objects is 0. That's because we don't have any objects in our bucket. It's just an empty bucket here. This is the objects tab. You have a properties tab, a permissions tab, a metrics tab, a management tab, and an access points tab. Each of these tabs can be a tutorial video on their own. And that's pretty much it on the bucket creation. Now you see we back out here at buckets. We got our bucket created. It tells us where it is and the time and all that. Now, what do? We want to put something in our bucket. We want to upload something to the bucket, right? So let's click on the name of the bucket, and you can click here, upload. You can click here to upload. You can create a folder. And this is the folders that I mentioned earlier. We'll do that after we upload a bucket. So let's just, an object. Let's go ahead and click upload. And we have a couple of options here: add files, add folders. We can add entire folders as an object or just a single file as an object. We'll go ahead and click add files. It's going to ask us, where do we want to add a file from? It took me right to my pictures because I've been there before, right? Random meme, all right? And that is going to be our object. So now S3 has targeted the object that we want to upload. You can see it right here. If we click on it, we'll have the option to remove it, add more files, add a folder. This is what we're targeting right here, the evolution of memory storage devices, JPEG. It is a picture. We've been calling it an object, but an object can be anything, a picture, a file, whatever, right? It's telling us the destination is what? The S3 bucket, the S3 lab bucket. That's our bucket we just created. If we click destination details, it'll give us some specifics that we can choose about how we want to upload this object. We can turn versioning on for this object. We can turn on encryption for this object. We can lock this object if all of these options are enabled overall in the bucket, right? They give us a warning. We recommend that you enable versioning to help you protect against unintentionally overwriting or deleting an object. We won't do that. We don't need it. Permissions, same thing. You can go ahead and grant or remove some permissions if you have that set. And last, you'll have storage classes. And this is what we were talking about with the intelligent tiering. S3 has storage classes. The regular one is standard, and then it goes standard and frequent access, one zone and frequent access, S3 Glacier, X3 Glacier, Deep Archive, down the list, right? Choose which storage class. Standard is the standard. We'll leave it at standard. We'll move on down. You can add tags. You can add metadata. When you're done, you'll click upload. As you can see, upload successful. Details below. We're going to go ahead and close this. We're going to go back out to the bucket level because we just want to see how we go through the process, right? So there's our bucket. If we click on the bucket, now we can see that under objects, there is one. And if you look in the bucket, this is the object, the evolution of a memory storage devices. It's telling us it's a JPEG. This is the information we have. Now, if we go ahead and click the box next to our object, some of these options will open up for us. We can copy the S3 URI, we can copy the URL, we can download this particular object, we can open the object, delete the object. There's other actions we can do on the object. We can create a folder to put the object in. We can upload more objects, right? So if we just went and clicked open, a window would open and it would show us the object that we uploaded, the evolution of memory storage. Pretty funny, right? Okay. And if we click on the name of the object, it will bring us into some more detailed information about the object itself, the object owner, what region it is stored in, the size, what type of file it is, a key if there are any, the ARN, Amazon resource name, identity tags, the object URL. This is the URL you would share with the people you wanted to have access to this object if your bucket access was public. Right now, if we clicked on this, as you can see, it's going to tell us access denied because the object is not public and the bucket is not public. Now, if we go back up to the bucket level, you'll see you have an object. Now we can create a folder and we'll say the folder name is JPEG folder. We're going to just say create folder. Now, if you look here inside our S3 bucket, we have a folder called JPEG folder. And we have an object called evolution of memory storage devices. Now, actually, both of these are objects, but this one it behaves like a folder. And we can click on it. We can go actions. We can do stuff to the folder. Now, if I clicked on the name of the folder, I could upload something directly to this folder. So I'd say upload, add a file. This will upload that. Say upload. And now inside the folder, this is our S3 bucket. We're in the JPEG folder. We have an object called tow folder. Now we can close this window back all the way out to the bucket. Click on the name of the folder, and inside the folder you see there's an object called trailer. Now let's go ahead and click the name of this. We're going to delete this object. When you want to delete an object, it'll ask you again, do you want to delete it? And if you do, you have to type in permanently delete just to verify that is exactly what you want to do. Boom, object deleted, successfully deleted the object. All right, so then we'll return back out to our bucket and all we have is the bucket here. We're gonna click in. Now we just have the folder. Now we can delete the folder. Let's delete the JPEG folder here. We want to permanently delete it. We're gonna scroll down, click delete objects. Folder got deleted, close the window. We're back in the bucket. Only thing that is left is our evolution of memory storage device, and we're gonna delete that too. Click the box, delete that. We're gonna say yes, we want to permanently delete it, and delete. Close the window, back out to S3. All we have is our bucket. If we click in our bucket, there is nothing in our bucket. Now we want to delete the bucket, go back out to S3. Click the bubble next to the bucket, click on delete. You want to delete this bucket? Yes, we want to delete it, but this time it says you got to put the name of the bucket, the S3 lab bucket. So, and we're going to say delete, bucket gone. We click buckets. You can see there is nothing inside of this S3 bucket, and we have done it all. Now, whenever you create something inside of your, particularly your free AWS lab, you always want to get rid of it before you leave, just in case some charges could be incurred. If you got an EC2 instance running, make sure you stop it and delete it before you get up out of there. If it's going to be a project you're going to be working on, then just stop it, don't delete it, but make sure you stop your services. Okay, Tech Fam, and that was the process here. Let's jump back out into the command center. All right, Tech Fam, and we are back. So what do you think about S3? Easy enough, right? Now just remember, there's way more to S3 than what we've gone over in this small little tutorial, but that is the part you need to have on file in your head. And so that is what you will be exploring as you go through the process of building your knowledge and skill over AWS's platform and services. Please remember to hit the like button so we can get these videos in front of the appropriate audiences. And if you've not already subscribed to the channel, feel free to go ahead and do that right now. We're dropping great information all the time. You don't want to miss that. If you want to be one of the first people to know, hit the bell button. And until the next video, Tech Fam, peace.